Hello, fabulous third graders! Today we're going to talk about place value with ones, tens, and hundreds. So let's start with the review. Let's say I have the number 546. I can put that number in a place value chart. I can put the 5 in the hundreds column, the 4 in the tens column, and the 6 in the ones column. Now if I have 5 in the hundreds column, I can show that with hundreds blocks. There are 5 hundreds blocks in that column. Now if I have 4 in the tens column, I can represent that with tens blocks. So there are 4 tens in the tens column. And if I have 6 in the ones column, I have 6 ones blocks in that column. So this is a way that I can show with my place value blocks 546. Let's see another one. Let's look at 123. Again, I can put the 1 in the hundreds column, the 2 in the tens column, and the 3 in the ones column. And to use blocks to show that, I can put 1 hundreds block in the hundreds column, 2 tens blocks in the tens column, and 3 ones blocks in the ones column. So this is how I represent 123. Let's take a look at this with some new vocabulary. If I have the number 369, we say that that is written in standard form. That's a number written with digits. Now, place value means the value assigned to the place that a digit occupies in a number. Well, that's a really long way to say exactly what we've been doing. We take our 369 and we place it in our place value chart. 3 in the hundreds column, 6 in the tens column, and 9 in the ones column. So we can assign a value to each of those digits. So remember, that 3 in the hundreds column does not equal 3. It equals 300. Remember, we would use 3 hundreds blocks to show that number. The 6 in the tens column does not equal 6. It equals 60. Because remember, I would have to put 6 tens blocks in the tens column. Now the ones column, that 9 does equal 9. So we have assigned value to each of the digits based on which place it's in. There's another way we can show a number, and that's expanded form. Expanded form means we're going to write that number as the sum of its place value parts. Well, we just did all the hard work. So all we're going to do is say 369 is the same as if I added that 300 plus that 60 plus that 9. Expand means to stretch. So we're going to stretch out that number using the values. One more form, and that's word form. And just like it says, it's a number that's written out as words. So I would think about how I say the word 369, and I would write out 369. Let's try some more. If I have 842, that's written in standard form. I can put that number into my place value chart. 8 in the hundreds column, 4 in the tens column, and 2 in the ones column. And I'm going to assign each of those digits a value. 8 in the hundreds column means that's 800. 4 in the tens column means that's 40. 2 in the ones column means that's 2. So remember, I have that expanded form where I have to stretch out that number. I've already done the hard work, and I'm going to write it as those values added together. 800 plus 40 plus 2. And with word form, I just think about the number and how I would say it. 842, and then write it out. Don't forget to put that hyphen in between the 40 and the 2. Let's see some more. What happens if I have a 0 in my number, like 508? Remember, this is standard form. I still can put this number in my place value chart. 5 in the hundreds column, 0 in the tens column, and 8 in the ones column. Remember, that 5 in the hundreds column equals 500. Since there are no tens in the tens column, that's 0. And there are 8 ones in the ones column, so that's 8. So now with our expanded form, I can choose to use the 0, or I can just choose not to use the 0 and write it out as 500 plus 8. And again, with word form, I think about, I say the word 508, so I'm going to write it out 508. Here's another digit with a 0, 410. Remember, this is standard form. So when I put this number in my place value chart, I put 4 in the hundreds column, 1 in the tens column, and 0 in the ones column. So remember, 4 in the hundreds column would be 400. 1 in the tens column would be 10. And 0 in the ones column would equal 0. So when I choose to stretch out my number with expanded form, I can choose to add the 0 in or leave it out. So I could write this as 400 plus 10. And with my word form, I say the number 410 and write it out the way it sounds, 410. So now what if I'm given the expanded form of a number and then have to come up with the standard form and the word form? So if I have the stretched out expanded form, 500 plus 40 plus 6, remember I had to think about 500 plus 40 plus 6 in terms of the place value chart. So I could show that as 5 in the hundreds, 4 in the tens, and 6 in the ones, which helps me write out the standard form 546, which lets me say the number so I can write the number in word form, 546. Now what if I'm just given the word form, like 703? Well, I think to myself, okay, 703 would be written like this, 703 in standard form. That's 703. So I think to myself, well, if I put it into a place value chart, I have 7 in the hundreds column, 0 in the tens column, and 3 in the ones column. So that helps me give a value to each of those digits. 7 in the hundreds column would be 700. Now 0 in the tens column would just be 0, and 3 in the ones column would be 3. So when I stretch it out, when I write it in expanded form, I'm going to choose to leave that 0 out, so I'm going to write it as my 700 plus 3.